Last year coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. That's right, me, the type of guy to wear a beanie with a tank top. That's what you're tuned in for. That's it. That's me.
Maybe it's cold outside.
Send some positive vibes, some love your way, especially if you need it out there today. Hey, you know what, guys? When you can't think of anything else to rank inside this godforsaken game, what do? You go back to last year and think, what have I not ranked this year, and do it all over again and see which changes, because obviously there's new champions to the game, the meta evolves, there's new dungeons and areas inside the game like Curse City in the last year, at least at the time of this recording. Has it been a year since Curse City yet? Doesn't feel like it. Anyway, guys, I digress. I'm pumped because who doesn't love a good epic nuker? And I'm going to rank my personal top 15 epic nukers from 15 all the way to numero uno, because the last thing that I want to see when I look at the top 15 or top 20 or top anything of anything, it could be ice cream flavors on a YouTube video. When I click on a video and they're not actually ranked in order, I click right off. Anybody with me there, or you guys probably don't? You don't care at all, do you? You don't care. Well, anyway, you clicked on the video, you're here, some positive vibes, some love your way, especially if you need it out there today. Let's get on with the list at number 15. Actually, quick honorable mention, I guess. I'm not going to include burners on this list. I'm going to go like kind of traditional, mostly AoE nukers on this list. So a massive shout out to my top 3 burners out of every epic in the game, and that is in no particular order on these 3. Actually, screw it. To my last point, I'll give you my order, right? Number 3, Mordecai. Okay, my number 3 burner, epic burner. Love Mordecai, by the way. Number 2 is actually going to be who you probably think is number 1, and that's going to be a shout out to Skrank. Love Skrank. And then number 1, my personal favorite epic burner inside the entire game. That's right, a bonus tier list is going to be Frenzy the Cackler. I absolutely love Frenzy. She instant activates, she places the burn, AoE provoke, amazing void, very hard to get, but very, very worth it once you do get her, if you're lucky enough to get her. All right, where am I going? I don't know. I just want to see more offers pop up at me incessantly, I guess, by going back to the Bastion.
Now, if you like, you could come by my shop tomorrow afternoon and we can try again.
Oh, and one last exclusion, guys. Agree or disagree, and you probably should disagree. But just to make things a little bit easier, I also am not going to include my 2 favorite enemy max HP champions. Not because they're not nukers, just because enemy max HP, I mean, against targets with a lot of HP, they're going to be super high on the list. Against targets without high HP, they're probably going to be a bit lower. I'm going for kind of sheer raw nukers, either single target or AoE. And of course, like I said, you can definitely make the case they still belong on the list, but a massive shout to Royal Guard and to Husk, who are just the absolute best of the best when it comes to enemy max HP out of any epic inside the game. They're both maniacs, and where is Husk? There he is, right in my face. So yeah, Husk, Royal Guard, absolute monsters. If I had to put them somewhere in this list, they'd probably both be top 5. They're that good. But I decided to exclude them and just give them this massive shout out at the beginning of this video. Let's get into the list. Number 15 on the list, guys, is going to be one of my favorites out there. Some of you guys probably have no idea who he is or have no idea why he's making this list, but let me tell you, he smacks and he's really big. Siege Hulk! I love Siege Hulk, man. This dude is a monster. Does a lot of damage. Very, very glass cannon. 760 on the defense. 1500 barely on the HP. But he's bringing his own increased attack, his own buffs. A big, strong AoE with a decreased defense. Yeah, Siege Hulk, I mean, if you know, you know. Siege Hulk is a maniac. He is a damage-dealing machine at number 15. At number 14 on the list, and again, this is my personal list. Go ahead and let me know who I snub or who shouldn't belong as well, or maybe both, in the comments below. I have a Kemptum. Yeah, there's a lot of champions that aren't going to be on this list that can deal a lot of damage for epic nukers out there. But a Kemptum, he's a weird one because he's not supposed to be just an all-out nuker, but with a triple hit on the A1, the triple hit on the A2, and then the inflicting damage from the poisons, I'm always left in awe at the end screen of any battle that Akemptum is part of the team. Anybody with me there? Can you relate to that? I'm just like, in terms of the damage, I'm always like, whoa, that was a lot of damage, Akemptum. I'm always surprised. So I had to give credit where credit is due and include him on the list at number 14. Not thought of as a traditional nuker, but man, that's a lot of damage on a freaking triple AoE on a 3-turn cooldown. Coming in at number 13 on the list is going to be Shadowkin Blue Affinity Nagorio. Nagorio is a beast. I love this guy. He deals a lot of damage. He's one of kind of my personal favorites, and I almost feel like it's a snub to put him all the way down at number 13 because he can absolutely dish it out. Faster than the eye smacks on his A2. Abduct by night also smacks. This guy just has it, right? Like, a lot of damage, and also decrease the cooldown of this skill by 1 turn when attacking under an increased attack, which is nice because it is on a 5 or a 4-turn cooldown, so you can help get that back to that in 3 turns, as long as you're under an increased attack buff, which is really nice. He has an increased attack for 2 turns whenever an enemy's HP drops below 30%, and is protected. A very underrated epic nuker out there, and I think he was a previous like fragment summon or a fusion or something like that, so hopefully some of you guys have your hands on him. Number 12 is going to be an oldie, but certainly a goodie, and his Skull Crown, man. What kind of epic nuker list, ranking, tier list, whatever video would be complete without Skull Crown? Her and her sister are the queens of AoE. Her and Sinesha, that is. Hey, girl! She got the AoE on the A1, extra hit. They have more than 50% HP. The AoE on the A2 with the big version of Weaken at a 75% land rate. That's really nice to have as well for extra damage, obviously. She's got the passive, the unkillable. She's got the companion skill with the Sinesha. She's got the speed in arena battles. I remember back in the day, Skullcrown was my speed lead. My nuker was my speed lead inside the arena. And yeah, man, nowadays I use it for wave damage in a stun set. But she never lets me down. She's really, really good, even still to this day as one of the old school Void epics inside the entire game. Number 10, How the Mighty Hath Fallen. This guy was like number 2 on one of my first epic nuker ranking videos. Genbo, the Dishonored. I still love Genbo. He just doesn't hit quite as hard as some of the newer additions on the list. Epic Empowerment, though, did, just like everybody else, did benefit Genbo quite a lot. He has a 1409 base attack, which is really nice. I like his flinty passive here, where he's immune to decrease attack, will ignore unkillable when attacking under an increased attack. Just for that alone, like, probably deserves to be maybe a little bit higher on the list. I love that he's Void Affinity, so don't have to worry about negative affinity matchups and weak hits. He also has the increased crit rate and increased crit damage for 3 turns with the extra turn. So in some situations like the arena, heck, you can just build him with 70% crit rate, get that big damage, focus on the attack and the crit damage, and you won't be disappointed, especially with his Heartless Blitz. I love the fact that it can decrease duration of all buffs by 1 turn. Obviously, this is polymorph proof as well, and it can't be resisted on critical hits. Man, I'm talking myself into Genbo being higher on the list. All right, that's number 10. Number 9 on the list, this is a guy, a newcomer that might surprise some of you guys, but I will stand by this, and if you doubt me, build him if you're looking for some damage. He's kind of a one-dimensional champion. You can say that about a lot of the champions on the list, but Pan the Bowhorn, let me tell you, I was absolutely shocked by the amount of damage this dude can do, man. He's a DPS machine, and he's Force Affinity. You love to see it. So much Magic Affinity, obviously, in the game to this day. I feel like Magic Affinity's always been the most popular affinity in the game, so he counters that, and man, he has this AoE. Before attacking, he brings his own increased attack and an increased speed while we're at it for 3 turns on a 3-turn duration when booked. And I mean, with the increased attack, it definitely helps. He's a triple hitter, by the way, with ignore defense on the A3. Both the single target triple hitter on the A3 and the AoE, they both do exceptional damage with a high 1443 for an epic base attack. That scales really well. Also, man, Pan, that feels criminal to have him at number 9 or number 10, excuse me, number 9. I don't know. My numbers are off here. Next up on the list, let me do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He was number 10.
Wait a minute.
Number 9 on the list. This is a guy, a newcomer that might surprise some of you guys. Coming in at number 9 on the list is going to be Inquisitor Shamail. So a single target nukers aren't generally my favorite unless you're like a Turvold, you know. But Inquisitor, man, he he breaks the mold, right? Like, he is unbelievably good, would definitely be top 3 for just Hydra. So because of how much he excels in one area of the game specifically, although he can be used in other areas of the game, don't get me wrong, with 100% ignore defense potential that you can build him with Savage and or Lethal. In addition to that, great damage here from a single target, but really, the cleansing of the true fears from the head of Torment in Hydra, I mean, it makes him a staple of even endgame teams. You're getting a lot of damage, and you're getting a lot more damage from all that cleansing of the true fears that are not proccing on your allies. So Inquisitor makes it at number 9 on the list. Number 8 on the list is going to be a Barbarian, another Force Affinity Barbarian, and it's Alika. If I can find her, is she right in front of my face? Yes. Alika. I always worry that I'm going to accidentally click on Kalia, who I don't like that much. They look kind of similar there. Wait, they're not companions, right? Sakara's the companion. Anyway, I digress. The bad news on Alika is you're going to need about 150,000 epic skill tomes to max this champion out. But if you want to invest, you know, you're not going to regret it. She's great with control, and she's great with damage. She's a nuker after all. She's got an extra chance of placing a critical hit, which is always nice. She has the high value target, 2-turn cooldown when booked, ignoring 50% of their defense. As long as their max HP is higher than this champion, that's not a hard threshold to clear at 15.8 on a base HP level. And then Disorient is an AoE, great control ability, has a chance. It's the same as Bashers, right? 3-turn cooldown, decreased cooldown of all enemy skills by 2 turns. You can get far with a fast Alika in a control build, and then a little extra damage as well, or all out nukes on Alika. Either way, she's very effective, very versatile. It's nice to get an epic champion who can hit as hard as a lot of legendaries, and who also can bring control that is very hard to find with the Disorient ability. So she comes in at number 8. Number 7, we just did a video on her yesterday, I believe, on the channel, or at least a couple days ago. It's Dark Elhaine. Now, I love Dark Elhaine. She comes in at number 7 on the list, right kind of the middle of the pack, a little bit towards the top of the pack. I love Dark Elhaine so much. If you want to know why, just watch yesterday's video. But in short, she's a perfect anti-freeze champion out there. Great for Ice Golem, great for Torment teams, great for Gurgo the Augur teams, for Ninja teams, for anybody who's going to freeze your team. Pixiel, all those Pixiel teams out there. You got an answer, right? But there's a lot of freeze out there, especially inside the meta right now. Frostbiter as well, Centranos, or just damage dealing anywhere. She has a decreased speed on the AoE as well, which is hard to find. Decreased max HP on the A1. Instant activations of Death's Majesty, even if it's off cooldown. Hell yeah. And she's free. She's a free daily login reward. One of my favorite daily login reward champions, along with Vizix and still the Drakes in the game. All right, number 6 on the list. This one might shock some of you guys. Ash, he's way too high. He's way too high. No. He's probably too low. And it's Dirindil. Dirindil is the best nuke you probably never heard of out of every epic in the game. I could probably make a case that he's top 3. That's how good Dirindil, that's how hard Dirindil hits. Dispatch Them has that AoE with 15% ignore defense. Filling turn meter each critical hit, that's great against waves of 5 enemies. You can get potentially a 50% turn meter fill as well on a 3-turn cooldown, getting back to that ability even sooner. And then he has the Royal Assassin. Man, 50% ignore defense for an epic, with all apologies to Alika, to have a 50% ignore defense ability and a very hard-hitting AoE, that is very, very hard to find, and Dirindil has that, similar to Alika on a Force Affinity Epic Champion. Man, he smacks. Very low base HP. Defense isn't so bad, but that HP, do need to consider some survivability there. But one of my personal favorite nukers in the game, in Dirindil, he grew on me throughout the years, but every time I'm in need of damage from a Force Affinity Epic, I'm looking at Alika or Dirindil. Like, they're my go-tos on my account. In Pan, too, in Pan. All right, number 5. Ladies and gentlemen, we've gotten to the top 5. This is a very difficult champion to grade, because he doesn't hit as hard as Dirindil, nor does he hit as hard as Pan, frankly, or Alika.
Then, why me?
But he has one of the most busted kits in the game. I'm sure you're already well aware. In Mistrider Dathi, he has removing buffs, but he has this extra turn chance on every single one of his abilities. On the A2, on the A1 is just straight up 10% chance, right? On the A2, currency extra turn, if the decreased defense is placed by all enemies on, or placed on all enemies, not by all enemies, Ash. And then on the A3, hunt the miss. He has the self-buffing as well. Not only the increased attack, which is obviously great for nukes, but the increased accuracy allows you to build him with kind of borderline accuracy if you want to. Try to get more oomph out of those nukes. Man, Mist Rider, all those extra turns, all that AoE, essentially, you know, one of my favorite nukers out there, right? When you add it all together. A lot of damage, a great debuff, obviously, to get more damage out of everybody, including Mist Rider. What more can I say? I really love that champion. Number 4 on the list is going to be from my favorite faction in the game. It's Whisper. Yeah, that's right, Whisper. She still makes the cut here, guys, inside the top 5, right outside the top 3. Man, Whisper, I was so wrong on Whisper historically. Like way back in the day, I think she was an Amazon Prime champion or something. I got my hands on her pretty early on, and I remember just being kind of underwhelmed, you know? Okay, single target damage dealer. I don't like single target damage dealers. She got a lot of extra turn potential here, but let me just tell you, she smacks. She smacks hard. Especially with Hydra introduced to the game, she got a lot better. I'll tell you what, I've seen Whisper outdamage a lot of legendaries, hell, even mythicals in this game. Between the extra turn chances in her kit and just the sheer raw damage that she brings to the table, the passive, the unrelenting extra turn, and then attacking bosses, right? The 20% extra damage, that's significant. It's beyond significant. It makes her one of my top nukers out there. And if you've invested a lot of time and energy and resources into building Whisper, there's no doubt you agree with me in the comments, right? Right? Let me hear the Whisper fan club out there. Okay, guys, we moved into the top 3. Number 3 epic nuker in the game, according to this random talking head on YouTube, is going to be Magnar. Oof, you can make a case Magnar is number 1. You can make the case Magnar is number 1. If you want to wave clear, no one's going to be out damaging Magnar on this list, right? It's because, I mean, unless you're looking for, if you're looking to go into a bunch of blue affinity, maybe a lot of champions will be out damaging him. But to get a big boy spirit nuker like a Magnar who's tanky because he's HP based, who has a freaking AoE that's one of the strongest, hardest hitting in the game on a 3-turn cooldown that can hit 2 times. What more do you want out of a nuker? As I started to allude to, there's not that many like really great spirit affinity nukers. I feel like spirit has the worst kind of class of nukers. Now, there's a lot of exceptions to that, but I think in aggregate, I would say they probably have the least AoE nukers, but Magnar is a massive exception to that, being one of the best AoE nukers in the game as an epic champion. Again, I mentioned he can be tanky. His Fan the Flames hits very hard as well, and then he has the HP burn synergy where he can apply a debuff spread, which is handy in some situations as well. Man, what else to say about Magnar? I mean, it's just right there. It's so great. The percussive pound, when it comes, you're like, you see that text percussive pound on the screen, and you're like, okay, sayonara, everybody, you're dead. You just got hit by a Magnar. All right, number 2 on the list. Who could beat out Magnar? By the way, quick honorable mention. I tried to stick her in there somewhere, but maybe a couple quick honorable mentions. Gala. I love Gala. Probably could have, should have been on the list. But, you know, it made some tough choices. I think that Morag is one of my favorite champions out there. She can deal some crazy damage, right? Especially with the counterattacks on the passive in longer battles like Demon Lord. She's one of my faves. I love her so much. But I look at her as maybe even like more than a nuker, her viability, right? With that strength and yada, yada, yada. All right, some quick honorables. Number 2 is going to be, if you're a longtime viewer, you know there's no surprise here, Phoenix, or some people call him Phoenix. I looked at a few videos like back in the day to see like, okay, let me get to the bottom here. Like, what do you call this handsome fella? What do you call him? Nub raids? Let's call him nub raids. He has put down on the A1 one of the hardest hitting A1s in the game that blocks revival. Why is this so important? Well, A, it's a powerful A1 that blocks revival. I want to say a 4.1 multiplier off the top of my head on this ability. That's insane. But that makes him one of the best nukers in the game for the arena or any other area that you want to block revive on somebody as part of an ally attack team. You put them with a Ferric the Fat, a Catacomb Counselor, Lady Mikage, or any other ally attacker that you have on your account, and you target anybody, he's attacking with one of the best A1s that blocks revive. You ally attack, on a Sun Wukong, and he's gone forever. Oof, very strong. Now, he's also strong against PvE. He's not just PvP. He's strong against bosses, and he brings a decreased defense and a decreased speed against a single target, so he could be your debuffer against a boss as well. I use him as a debuffer in areas like Eternal Dragon or Celestial Griffin, where I run ally attack teams anyway. You're going to get a ton of damage, and you're going to get the debuffs. Moreover, you can use him in wave content, because he has a big boy AoE and Stern partner with a block active skills for one turn if it doesn't place block buffs. Or a block buffs. I hate the conditionality on the A2, but either way, half the time they're dead, so they have no active skills anyway. I love Fenix so much. Number one, who could it be? Who could number one be? Drum roll, please! We have... Nope. Yep. Yeah, I could not find a case, or make a case, for any champion, any epic champion over a Boro in the game as my number one nuker, right? I think an area that the largest segment, even with the buff to Hydra, largest segment of the player base is focused on is Hydra. And nobody outdamages a Boro in Hydra, especially when you have her with a Mikage. Basically an ally attacker, she'll attack all enemies if the target's under 4 or more debuffs. Now, when she was added to the game, it wasn't like super obvious, like, okay, enemies under 4 or more debuffs, what, in the arena, if I land a bunch of debuffs? But now that we have an area like Hydra or any other area of Centranos, there's a lot of double bosses, it's pretty easy to stack up 4 debuffs. So with an ally attack team, or even without an ally attack team, she goes in with a very hard-hitting A1 ability every time with this A1, right? Moreover, she's bringing a decreased defense. It is a 50% land rate, 55 with the Sniper Mastery, but still, now she's debuffing and she's attacking. I've seen people build her in a curse set as well for like the hexes on the A1, but I'm trying to build her all out damage and like a merciless, right? She's got a transferring debuffs from this champion to the target. She's got a increased crit rate, increased crit damage on herself. She's bringing her own buffs. She's got a perfect veil to help keep her alive because she's pretty squishy as well. But man, overall, we're here in a video about nukers. Man, nobody out nukes my Aboro. I was so pleasantly surprised by what she can do, especially over the course of longer battles, but even in shorter ones as well, like I mentioned, Centranos or other dungeon areas. She's next level. She really is legendary-like damage, provided that you land those debuffs. And even without, you won't be disappointed with her single target damage as well. Guys, what do you say? Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with my list? Either way, let me know about it in the comments below. And thank you for watching all the way till the end of the video. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.